Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. First stream of the year. Haven't streamed in like over a month, so I feel a little bit like, what do all of these buttons do? Um, no, I'm really excited to be back. Um, we have a fun one today. Going to be previewing this weekend's Rolex 24 at Daytona, which I'm very, very excited about. Endurance racing is back. Praise. Um, So yeah, we're gonna preview that, make some predictions just for fun, talk about stuff. Um, but yeah, I think I do have some notes. Those are for later. Um, but yeah, I think let's just switch on over and get into it. As always, I want to know what you guys think. So make your predictions along with me, and then we'll see at the end of the race how we all did. Um, So yeah, let's start with GTP. You can see if you look over here, there are 61 entries this year, which is quite a few. Um, oh, hold on. Okay, so, whoops, I accidentally double audioed myself. Um, Starting with GTP, we have the number 5 Proton competition entry with Neil Janney, Tristan Baudier, Nico Pino, and Julian Odler. Then we have the 6, the Porsche Penske Motorsport entry with Matthew Jaminet, Matt Campbell, and Kevin Estre. Then we have the 7 Penske Porsche Penske Motorsport entry. I always say Penske Porsche, but I know it's not actually right. Um, so to have to say it the other way is like, oh yeah. Um, we have Felipe Nasr, Nick Tandy, and Lawrence Vanthor. Then we have the 10, the Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing entry, the first of two, with Ricky Taylor, Philippe Albuquerque, Will Stevens, and Brendan Hartley. Then we have the 24, the first BMW M Team RLL entry with Philip Eng, Dries Vanthor, Kevin Magnussen, and Rafael Marcello. Then we have the second BMW entry, the 25, with Marco Whitman, Sheldon Vanderlyn, Robin Friends, and Renee Rast. Let's see. Then we have the 31, the Cadillac Wheeling entry with Jack Aitken, Earl Bamber, Frederick Vesti, and Felipe Drugovich. We have the 40, the second Wayne Taylor Racing, the Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing entry with Jordan Taylor, Louis Delatraz, and Kamui Kobayashi. There was supposed to be, um, they did have like a fourth driver, but he got sick, so he couldn't compete. So they're just going with 3. Um, then we have the 60, the Acura Meyershank Racing entry with Tom Blomqvist, Colin Braun, Scott Dixon, and Felix Rosenquist. That is a strong car. Um, we have the 63, the Lamborghini entry with Marco Bortolotti, Roman Grosjean, Daniel Kvyat, and Eduardo Mortara. Um, if you guys have been around for a while, or even if you haven't and you want to go back and watch old VODs on our YouTube channel, um, you will see what I'm talking about. But friend of the show, Mark Miller, is spotting for the Lamborghini team at the Rolex. So if you're there and you see him, say hi and tell him I told you to say hi. But yeah, so we support our friends around here. So I don't think I'm going to pick them, but I'll give them an honorary, like, mention. And I'm hoping at some point soon to get him back on the show for part two. Um, the second to last GTP entry we have is the 85, the JDC Miller Motorsport entry with Timon Vanderhelm, John Maria Brunei, Pascal Werlin, and Bryce Aaron. And then we have the 93, the second Meyershank Racing entry. Also strong car, because they have Ranger Van Zandt, who you guys know I'm a big fan of the way he drives and of him as a person. And it's hard to like not pick him. You know what I always say about like it's hard to not pick Ben Keating all the time? I feel the same way about Ranger. But it's him, Nick Yellowly, Alex Pillow, and Kakawata. And yeah, this is tough. You guys know I do this, I struggle because it's hard. See, mm, it's like my brain automatically always wants to pick a Wayne Taylor entry. Um, the Meyershank racing cars have really good drivers. Hmm. I think I can rule out. I know, okay, I know who I can rule out. I'm either going to pick the 10, the 40, the 60. Oh, God. It's so hard. And I didn't like pre-look at any of these, so I didn't have like an idea going into it. I never really do. I'm gonna pick the 10. Oh, shook the whole table, jeez. Um, yeah, I'm gonna pick the 10, but I'm gonna say that I think the Meyershank cars are gonna be hard to contend with, and the 63 gets my honorable mention option. So yeah, let's move to LMP2. We have the first of the United Autosport USA entries, the number 2, with Nick Boulay, Garnet Patterson, Ben Hanley, and Ollie Jarvis. Then we have the 4, the CrowdStrike Racing by APR entry, with George Kurtz, Maltha Jacobson, Toby Sari, and Colton Herta. Then we have the 8, the Tower Motorsport entry with John Ferrano, Sebastian Alvarez, Sebastian Bourdais, and I don't have my glasses on, so I can't think. Jogban Utrecht. I once again, sometimes names are hard. um, then we have the 11, the TDS Racing entry with Stephen Thomas, Michael Jensen, Hunter McElroy, and Charles Malesi. Then we have the 18 Aero Motorsport entry with Toby Lutke, Paulo Chatan, oh geez, David Hannemeyer Hansen, and Ryan Dalziel. Then we have the second United Autosport USA entry, the 22, with Dana Goldberg, Paul DiResta, James Allen, and Rasmus Lind. Then we have the 43, the Inter-Europol competition entry. Geez. Everything's fine. With Tom Dillman, John Field, Bijou Garg, and Antonio Felix da Costa. go. Good. To the bottom. Then we have the 52, the PR1 Matthias and Motorsport entry with Rodrigo Sales, Ben Keating, Benjamin Peterson, and Matthias Beisch. We have the 73. This is an interesting one. The Pratt Miller Motorsport entry. Um, Interesting and kind of cool to see that they've kind of branched into LMP for the Rolex as well, along with running the Corvettes. But we have Pietro Fittipaldi, James Rowe, Chris Cumming, and Callum Ilott. Jeez. It's already been like a really long day. Then we have the 74, the Riley entry with Gar Robinson, Felipe Fraga, Josh Burton, and Felipe Massa. The 88 AF Course entry with Louis Perez Companc, Dylan Murray, Nicholas Nielsen. Oh, this is super French. And Matthew Vaxiver. Vaxiver. That's what I'm going to say. I hope I'm close. Then we have the 99, the AO Racing entry, also known as Spike, with PJ Hyatt, Dane Cameron, Johnny Edgar, and Christian Rasmussen. I think, see, this is hard, but also not as hard because I know I can pick Ben Keating in another class if I want to. Between the 74 and the 99, because Spike is a really solid car all the time. But it's hard to go against Riley. I'm going to pick the 74. Okay. But again, I think there could be good competition in this class. All right. GTD Pro. We have the number 1 Paul Miller Racing entry with Madison Snow, Neil Verhagen, Connor DeFelipe, and Kelvin Vanderlyn. Then we have the 3, the first of the Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsport entries with Antonio Garcia, Alexander Sims, and Daniel Giancadella. Then we have the 4, the second Corvette Racing entry with Tommy Milner, Nikki Katzberg, and Nico Verone. Then we have the 007, the Heart of Racing team entry with Ross Gunn, Alex Riberas, Roman DeAngelis, and Marco Sorensen. Then we have the 9, the FAF entry, which I am sure everybody has seen, but FAF switched to Lamborghini for this season, and they have their iconic lumberjack livery back. And it looks really nice on that car. But they have Andrea Caldarelli, Jordan Pepper, Marco Mappelli, and everybody's favorite Canadian, James Hinchcliffe. Then we have the 14, the Vassar Sullivan Racing entry with Ben Barnicoat, Aaron Telitz, Kyle Kirkwood, and Townsend Bell. Then we have the 20, the Proton Competition entry with Claudio Schiavano, Matteo Crisoni, Thomas Preening, and Richard Leitz. Then we have the 48, Paul Miller Racing entry with Dan Harper, Max Hess, Jesse Krohn, and Augusto Farfus. Does seem like a lot of GTD Pro entries the more I scroll. But I'm not mad about it. Grow the class, make it bigger. Um, then we have the first of the Ford Multimatic Motorsport entries, the 64, with Mike Rockenfeller, Sebastian Prelue, and Austin Cindric. Then we have the 65 with Christopher Mies, Frederick Burvich, and Dennis Olsen. Then we have the 69 Get Speed entry with, oh, it's the, I know what this is. It's the Bartone Brothers Racing or whatever they call themselves. Um, they do drag racing as well with Sean Bellemere in Top Alcohol Funny Car. Um, but we have Anthony Bartone, Maxime Martin, Fabian Schiller, and Lucas Stolz. And then we have the 75 Express with Kenny Habel, Michael Grenier, Jules Gounon, and Mauro Engel. Then we have the 77 AO Racing entry, otherwise known as Rexy, with Lauren Henrik, Klaus Boschler, and Alessio Picarello. The 81 Dragon Speed entry with Albert Costa, David Rajon, Miguel Molina, and Thomas Norbor. And then the 91 Trackhouse by TF Sport entry with Ben Keating, Connor Zilic, Scott McLaughlin, and Shane Van Gisbergen. I mean, I did a video, a little short, about the 91 when their livery was released because, oh my god, it's so good. They have the like white WeatherTech livery. The way it sits, the way it sits on that Corvette, oh my god. It's so good. And also like, can I pick two? Because I really want to pick the 007 because you guys know I'm an Aston Martin girly and Heart of Racing is like my team. But also, how the frick do you not pick the 91 after reading that driver lineup? I mean, did like there's just can I pick two? If I like if I like really can't decide. I really can't decide. I want to pick two. I'm expanding the rules because they're my rules. And I'm not like going against anyone, it's just for fun, but I really do like those are my actual top two. And I can't pick between the two. It's like asking me to pick a favorite child if I had a child. Impossible. Cannot do it. And because I'm doing it, you guys can do it too. All right. Now let's move into GTD. We have the 12, the second Vassar Sullivan Racing entry with Jack Hawksworth, Parker Thompson, Frankie Montecalvo, and Kyle Kirkwood. Then we have the 13, the AWA entry with Ori Fadani, Matthew Bell, Lars Kern, and Marvin Kirschhofer. Then we have the 19, the Vanderstar Racing entry with Maxine Robin, Rory Vanderstar, Valentine Hasclott, and Anthony McIntosh. Then we have the 21 AF course with Simon Mann, Wheelu. Oh, she got an extra name since the last time I saw her. Wheelu Widow Dossier? Dossier? Guys, I took French in high school and I retained none of it. And none of the, when you make French words, none of the letters sound the way they're supposed to. Alessandro Pierguidi and Kai Cozzolino. Then we have the O21. Oh, I see. I see what they did. Um, the first Triarcy Competition entry with Sheena Monk, Stephen McAleer, Mike Skeen, and James Collado. Then we have the second Triarcy Competition entry, the O23, with Onofrio Triarcy, Charles Scardina, Alessio Rivera, and Eddie Cheever. Then we have the 27 Heart of Racing Team entry with Tom Gamble, Casper Stevenson, Zachary Robichon, and Matthias Drudy. Then we have the 32, the Kordoff Motorsport entry with Seth Lucas, Kenton Cook, Maximilian Goetz, and Dana Morad. If anyone remembers my predictions from last year, I said I believe in the power of Dana Morad, and one of my mods sent it to him, and he talked about it on his stream, his Twitch stream, which was hilarious and kind of shocking. But Morad's great. Big fan of that interaction. That was a lot of fun. Then we have the 34 Conquest Racing entry with Manny Franco, Daniel Serra, Cedric Spazzoli, and Giacomo Alto. Then we have the 36, the DXDT Racing entry. Took me a minute to read that. With Sully Yolk, Alec Udell, Charlie Eastwood, and Pippo Durrani. Ooh, Pippo, interesting. Then we have the 44, the Magnus Racing entry with John Potter, Andy Lally, Spencer Rampelli, and Nikki Thiem. That car is going away after this. John Potter said he made this big announcement before the end of last year and said that he, in his like real like work life, got the opportunity to like work on this project he's always wanted to do, and so he was shutting the team down. So this is their last ride as a team, and Andy Lally's last ride as well, because he is kind of retired from driving and he's going over to be like the president of Trans Am. And I think he'll do great stuff over there. That's really exciting. So yeah, if you're a Trans Am fan, go support Andy Lally and his new venture. Then we have the 45, the Wayne Taylor Racing entry, with Danny Formal, Trent Hidman, Graham Doyle, geez, and Kyle Marcelli. Then we have the 47, the Siegler Racing entry with Roberto Lacourt, Niccolo Lacourt, Lorenzo Patrice, and Antonio Fuoco. Then we have the 50 AF Course entry with Custodio Toledo, Riccardo Agostini, Arthur Leclerc, and Conrad Lawrenson. And we're not done yet. Then we have the 57, the Winward Racing entry with Russell Ward, Philip Ellis, Andy Dante, and Lucas Orr. Then we have the 66, the Gradient Racing entry, who have switched over to the Mustang for the season, and I guess for the future, with Joey Hand, Till Bechtelsheimer, Tatiana Calderon, and Harry Tinknell. There's a good group of drivers. Then we have the 70 Inception Racing entry, with Brendan Uribe, Frederick Shandorf, Ollie Milroy, and David Fuminelli. Then we have the 78, the Forte Racing entry with Misha Goikhberg, Mario Farnbacher, Frank Pereira, and Parker Klingerman, which is so exciting to see. Love to see Parker getting more driving opportunities. Um, and then we have the 80, the Lone Star Racing entry with Dan Knox, Scott Andrews, um, Eric Filgareas, and Ralph Aaron. And then we have the 83, the always popular Iron Dames, with Sarah Bovey, Rahel Frey, Michelle Gadding, and Karen Gillard. Then we have the 96, the Turner Motorsport entry with Robbie Foley, Pat Gallagher, Jake Walker, and Jens Klingman. And lastly, we have the 120, the Wright Motorsport entry with Adam Adelson, Elliot Skier, Tom Sargent, and hmm, oh, ugh, Ion Guven? I tried my best. um, hmm. I feel like there's too many options in this class. I don't even know. I mean, you know what? I think, oh, I'm getting an Amazon delivery. I can hear it at the window. Um, no, I do know. Just because I think they're a really strong group, and I'm a little bit sad it's their last ride. I'm gonna pick the 44. I'm gonna pick Magnus. And I have picked them in the past, so it's not like it's a chaos pick. My chaos picks honestly are my my double pick in GTD Pro. Um, so yeah, let's go over here to recap. I picked the 10, the 74, the 007/91, and the 44. Um, obviously, would love to hear your picks. Um, a couple things just before we end. Um, oh, one thing is you might notice I got a new chair. It is so comfortable. Um, would recommend. I'll link it below. But yeah, I love it. And I needed a new one anyway. My other one, as cute as it was starting to become like really uncomfortable in my lower back. So yeah, love it. Um, so let's talk viewing and like all that stuff. Um, so um, so tomorrow is Friday, and oh geez, it's a good thing I remembered to put my phone on mute this time. High five me. So Friday is the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Oh, hold on. Okay, sorry, I had to respond to a text. And I normally don't BRB for that, but I was like, what? Okay, so Friday, IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. They're doing the BMW M Endurance Challenge at Daytona. Um, it'll be on Peacock if you're in the States, and then IMSA.TV and YouTube if you're outside of the US. Um, 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time or 10:40 p.m. Pacific. And then for the Rolex, they are doing flag to flag on Peacock. Um, it will start, they're going to show the very beginning and the very end on NBC, and then like a couple hours in the middle on USA. And of course, IMSA.TV and YouTube if you are outside of the US. 1:30 p.m. Eastern and 10:30. I'm sorry. These are 10:30 a.m.s for both of those for the Friday race and for the Rolex. Um, but yeah, yeah. 10:30 a.m. for the Rolex, 10:40 a.m. for IMPC. And I think that is that. Um, like I said, obviously I want to know your guys' thoughts, your predictions, all the things. So leave it in the comments below. Um, I will be tweeting, or I mean, everyone calls it tweeting. Still, live tweeting the race. If anything like crazy major happens, then I might put up like a short or something. But that's not it. Um, what is the command? There it is. I switched some of the commands over the break and I was not remembering any of them. Um, yeah, so follow along on social media. All my links will be like in the description and over here. Um, but yeah, nice to be back. Nice to get the first stream of the year out of the way. I'm going to go and make a thumbnail for this and put it up on YouTube, like hopefully within an hour and a half. Just so everything can kind of be in one place. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys are having a great week. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.